Yes.
Of course, many
Yes,
of,
sir.
yes, of course. Your objectives, one of your objectives in your research work would be synthesizing compounds. In fact, sometimes you have to synthesize a lot of compounds if you are doing a very elaborate study. Now, uh, so organic synthesis is attractive, is fascinating. Many of us, including me, are always behind doing something in organic chemistry, right? And what is organic chemistry, Blake? It is synthesis of molecules. 90% of the times, if you are working in organic chemistry, what are you doing? You are synthesizing things, you are synthesizing molecules. Of course, the synthesized molecules can be evaluated for some properties, either physical, chemical, or biological properties later. That is the next level of your research. But at the basic level, you are synthesizing compounds, synthesizing organic molecules. Now, uh, it's not that organic chemistry is attractive to us now. Organic chemistry has always been a fascinating subject to the mankind, and many regard this organic synthesis as a creative science. Okay, so you can look at this painting. Basically, you can see a chemistry lab in medieval Europe in its medieval age, and all those basic equipments of a chemistry lab, I think they were taking shapes then. You can see almost a retort, round bottom flask, boiling something inside, a stand, very big stand, and there's a chief scientist. How do you know that he's a very chief? He's the main lead scientist. Is it because of his long beard? Is because of his wisdom? So, it's the organic chemistry lab painting, not a photograph. Please mind, this is a painting. So the origin of organic synthesis can be traced to almost 5-6 centuries back, particularly the Europe organic chemistry started. And even today, many believe that organic chemistry is not just a science, it's also an art. Okay, so can anybody elaborate on this statement, expand on this statement, give your comments on this statement, that organic chemistry is not only science, it's also an art? If I tell this, what is your opinion? Do you accept my statement?
True, sir. What you said is
True. What I have said is true. Why is it an art also? Now, for example, I can't tell if you are doing physical chemistry, I don't tell it's an art. Organic chemistry is an art. What would be the reason for that?
because we should have a knowledge of what we are preparing and what are the reaction conditions we use
We
for
should have knowledge
preparing
of
the
what?
molecule.
I mean, yes, we should have knowledge of what?
Of the molecule, what we are
Yeah,
should
that's
have
correct.
a knowledge of the conditions,
Mhm.
and we should use some techniques.
Techniques. Yes, it uses techniques. Correct.
Skill.
Okay.
It also uses skill in
Skills. Good. Skills.
preparing
Skills.
molecules.
Skills. Yeah, you require a set of skills unique to organic chemistry. Is it not? That's one side. Okay. But what is an art? Yeah. Basically, I'm not talking about organic chemistry as an art. Generally, what is an art? Art and rain. Writing a poem is art, right? Is it called a science? Writing poem. Painting is an art more than science. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Ah, yes. Why then? Why they are arts? Of course. For
I
painting also you
I
require.
guess
One second. For
for me,
painting also you require techniques. All the things what my friend just listed out. Technique, skills, target, everything is there in painting also. You should have a target image, what you want finally. You should have techniques of using colors, brushes, canvas, all those things. And the skills definitely are required. A painter has.
Imagine.
but still it is called an art. Yeah, more.
Imagination also is good.
Yes, somebody else.
Imagination.
Imagination. Okay, we express something in art. We express something in art. Yes, we express something in art. Good. Yes, nice. But can I have some more entries? You
Sir,
can
if
even
we
send it.
take a pictures or drawings, if we change the color or the strokes, it gives you some other look. Means the look which is different from the previous. So
Yes.
I guess if you take organic chemistry, the similarly, if a benzene ring just has double bond, oh, it will be a ketone. You add a H group to that, it will become a hydroxyl group. So even if we change an element and its bonding and all, it gives us a different functional group. So in that sense, we can be resemble it to an art.
Yeah. Okay. Who gave the answer now? I mean, sorry, I cannot make
Vidya
out.
Rani sir.
Vidya Rani.
Vidya Rani sir.
Yeah. So correct. Okay. You have a you took an approach, fine, but I was looking for something else here. I was rather looking for this answer. See, the art is more subjective and personal, whereas science is more okay, we can modify molecules. Okay, Divya, fine. Science is more realistic. It is non-subjective. Is it not? Don't you think so? What do you mean by subjective? In subjective, the results depend on the person doing it. Is it not? If you give if you want a picture of a lady painted, you give it to 10 people. Example, the Ravi Verma, how he paints, or MF Hussain, how he paints, they're all different way. So now, even like the same scene of a nature, there can be 10 artists sitting and writing the painting the scene of a nature. And finally, when you see those pictures, do all 10 pictures paintings look same, identical?
No sir.
No, of course, right? So that is where the art comes. It is personalized, it is subjective. You cannot guarantee the artist, all 100 artists, for example, will paint identically of something common. Similarly, but for the science, we can't do this. We cannot apply subjectivity to science. Uh, is it correct that we can't apply so much subjectivity to science? For example, if I give sodium chloride solution to 100 students, and if they do the analysis correctly, all 100 should get the same answer, sodium chloride. Don't you think so?
Yes sir.
Is there any subjectivity here? No. Like in physics, for example, you give 10 workers and ask them to measure the distance from Earth to Moon. If the techniques they are using is correctly, they are using the techniques, all of them should get the same answer. Everyone's answer should be identical. Yes, that is science. There is no subjectivity. But organic chemistry is an exception. Yeah. In this whole non-subjective nature of science, organic chemistry is a bit exception. Why is it an exception? Now, I give a target molecule and to some 10 students of mine, example, and ask them to arrive at a route to synthesize that molecule. Many arrive in different routes. One thing. Second thing, for simple synthesis like even nitration of benzene and getting dinitrobenzene, and if you have given this experiment to some 20 students in the lab, all 20 will not get the same yield, because definitely you have given same amount of starting compounds, same amount of reagents to all 20, but the yield will be different. In fact, the yield is in a range more. So what is that? That in organic chemistry, there is something more than science. It's the, like, what can we call this? It's your own personal way of doing things is also important in organic synthesis. Therefore, organic synthesis is also called an art. Okay. So the synthesis schemes you design, the way you execute a synthesis can be very different than the same thing what others do. Okay. So that's an art, basically. Art as well as science. course. So that's what I just gave here in this picture, that organic synthesis is a creative science. Yeah, it is a creative work, like literature, like uh, like movies. It's a creative science. Fine. So what is the point when it's a creative science? That you have okay, fine. You know, okay, now let me come back to a science question. Now, which is the first organic compound to be synthesized? Which was the first organic compound to be synthesized?
Urea.
Urea. Good. Yeah, very good. Urea was the first one to be synthesized. And it was Wohler who synthesized urea from inorganic compound,
Ammonium
ammonium
cyanide.
isocyanate. Yes, he just heated ammonium isocyanate and got urea. In fact, that was a breakthrough in organic chemistry. Synthesis of a small molecule like urea was a big breakthrough. Why? Why? Can anybody explain this? Why synthesis of urea was a breakthrough? Why is it a landmark in the history of organic chemistry? We start teaching organic chemistry telling that urea was the first organic compound to be synthesized. But if it were not to be urea, some other molecule, I don't think it would have got such an importance. The discovery would have got such an importance. Why? Why was it a breakthrough?
Earlier organic compounds are obtained from natural sources, from plants and animals.
Yes, good. Yeah, very good. That was the answer I was looking for. Earlier, the urea was an organic molecule. People knew about urea before, but never they could synthesize urea. All these organic molecules, whether it was urea or some plant product or animal product, they were all isolated from natural things. Is it not? The way organic chemistry means organisms. The chemistry which is born out of organisms. But here was a path-breaking discovery, right? You can make an organic compound in a laboratory, in a test tube. So this opened up. In fact, this was milestone event. Why? Because till then people thought organic chemistry cannot be synthesized by man. I mean, organic compounds cannot be synthesized by man. It can only be synthesized by nature in the natural living systems. But first time there was an organic chemistry which was synthesized artificially. So this belief was dismantled. This belief was got over. So people started now targeting many more organic compounds and got reasonable success in synthesizing these organic compounds. So we have, for example, in 1856, there was Perkin, okay, who synthesized the dye, first synthetic dye. This is also important here, synthetic dye, because dye was so much useful to humans then, for coloring purpose, for dyeing of clothes, for decorations. Dye was important, and dye was always isolated from natural sources like indigo or even turmeric. These are all the dyes which are available from natural sources. But first time we could synthesize a dye, another breakthrough. But the I mean, ice on the topping of the cake came when Emil Fischer synthesized glucose. You know the complexity of glucose molecule, right? And this was done in 1890. Urea is a relatively smaller compound and is not complicated in its structure. It is in NH2CONH2. But even the dye which Perkin synthesized was simple in its, actually it was Movin which Perkin synthesized, Movin. And this Movin was a polycyclic aromatic compound. So the synthesis was not too much difficult. But glucose synthesis was almost magical. Why? Because you know the functional groups of glucose, right? And all the isomers, optical isomers it has. So if, for example, it has some four, okay, let us talk, okay, five chiral centers. How many optical isomers are possible?
20.
2 to the power of 5.
20. 2 to the power of
5. 2 to the power of 5. So that gives you some 16 into 2, 32 compounds. 32
32.
optical isomers are possible for glucose. And of these 32 possible, I mean, I'm talking about a higher level of synthesis, the the stereospecific synthesis, stereoselective synthesis. But Fischer could synthesize correctly the glucose, the correct structure of the glucose, stereochemical structure of the glucose. And with all its multifunctional nature, glucose was still synthesized in 1890s. So this was again a major development in organic chemistry's history, synthesis of glucose by Emil Fischer. In fact, he got Nobel Prize also. He was the second one to get Nobel Prize in chemistry. First one was Van 't Hoff. Therefore, so people became more and more confident that we can synthesize organic molecules. Good. So, but from 1890 to 2021, it's almost been some 120 years, 130 years. So in this 130 years, from Emil Fischer's glucose to today's vaccines, okay, even vaccines or compounds, or antiviral drugs. Sorry, I am running out of time. See, since that anyways, yeah, since this is not my paid Zoom class, yeah, I don't have paid subscription for the Zoom. My Zoom meetings will end at 40 minutes time. So as soon as it ends, please re-log in. Okay, please re-log in as soon as it ends. There are 4 chiral centers in glucose. Okay, fine, Divya. So please re-log in, yeah, as soon as it ends, because as I told you, there is a limitation to my Zoom's meeting. Fine. Yes. So in these 30 years, I mean 130 years from glucose, we have come a long, long way. Is it not? We can now synthesize very big molecules, like for example, we can even synthesize very big molecules in our laboratories, as big as containing some 120, 130 carbon atoms and multiple, a long list of chiral centers. Still we can synthesize. But how did all these things start? At this level of knowledge what we have, I think synthesizing compounds like this ester, which I have shown, should be easy, right? Is it not? So what is this ester? You have an acid, R1 carboxylic acid, which is linked to alcohol. So should be easy job. How would you say, what is the ready reaction to synthesize an ester? Which I have also shown. So what is the ready reaction to synthesize an ester? What is a common pathway to synthesize an ester? How do you do that?
Esterification.
Good, yeah, esterification, simple. You take a carboxylic acid and alcohol, you put a dehydrating agent, or we also call it catalyst. You should get an ester. Esterification reactions are, we call some basic organic chemistry reactions, which we do always. But now, yes. But what was your answer? How to synthesize an ester? The answer was esterification reaction. But is that a only way? Is there an alternate way of synthesis of an ester? There's one more question. This is a very interesting question, important question. Is there an alternate way also? What would be that alternate way? For example, to synthesize this molecule 23, what's that alternate way? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
what would be
sir.
that? What would, can you change the starting materials instead of taking alcohol and acid, something else? Or
From
acid
ester
plus
itself, we can synthesize
esterification.
transesterification.
Transesterification. Yes, transesterification is a very,
Ester itself, we
yes. Transesterification is also a methodology, but I am looking for something else from you, the other answer. See, instead of taking an alcohol, it is also possible that I take an acid anion, yes, acid anion, and react that with a alkyl halide. Fine. So it is almost like you are nucleophilic substitution reaction. This is not almost, this is a nucleophilic substitution reaction. So Br gets displaced and this oxygen gets attached to R2. Finally, you get an ester like this. So why did I give this example? Even for a simple functional group like ester, you have alternative ways of synthesis. One can start with alcohol reacted with acid, or one can start with an alkyl halide reacted with acid. So which method you choose depends on your choice. It all depends on your judgment, which you have to choose for your target compound. That's your judgment. Fine. There is no universal rules. You have to choose only this path or the other path. It's up to you, your judgment. Sometimes it is more out of your experience rather than spot judgments. It is more of your experience. See, I am pitching this lecture to help you for your planning of research, yeah, synthesis of research. So don't consider this too much from your like MSc learning sake, that you are learning something for exams sake. Okay, that's also there. Exam sake you have to learn. But now we shall take a step beyond exams. We will learn for understanding how compounds can be synthesized in your future when you take up your research. Fine. Okay, fine. But we'll come to this molecule, yeah. What is this? This is a thioether. Fine. So when we have a thioether bond like this, and ask you to suggest some starting materials to synthesize this thioether, and please mind you that sulfur's reactivity is almost similar to oxygen's reactivity. So how do you do this? If I give you a target like this and ask you to guess or ask you to point out the starting materials for this thioether, which one, what starting materials do you suggest? What starting materials do you suggest? Okay. From thiol, good. From thiol. Yeah, Rajesh, good. From thiol. Ah, yes. But now comes the question. Thiol, of course, is the answer. But which thiol is the question? Shall I take the thiol attached to benzene ring? That means benzene ring SH. Or shall I take the thiol attached to CH2? That means SH, CH2 and benzene ring. Which thiol should be my starting material? Which thiol? CH2 thiol, Divya. Correct, Divya. It is CH2 thiol. Why? Why, Divya? Why is not aromatic thiols? Which is easily available. Yes, easily available. So availability, the access to the starting materials, the easy access to the starting material is of course a criteria while designing your synthesis. It is easily available. Okay, good. There is one more chemistry reason for this. See, okay, now you please understand here. If I choose CH2 thiol, what is the reaction I should do to join this sulfur to the aromatic ring? If I choose a CH2 thiol, CH2SH plus chlorobenzene. If I have to join this SH to my benzene ring, what reaction I should do? What is the type of reaction which I have to do? Here comes the knowledge of organic reaction mechanisms. Your organic synthesis is at the top of the pyramid, apex of the pyramid. And the foundations, the base of the pyramid is your knowledge about reaction mechanisms and knowledge about organic chemistry, stereochemistry, all these things. When you are doing research on synthesis, synthesizing compounds, you are operating at the top of the pyramid. So the bottom part you should always know. So, okay, yeah. Anyway, I have only one more minute for this meeting to end. After 1 minute, one minute, I will reschedule this. Please log in again. Okay, fine. Now you tell me. So what is the type of reaction? If yes as to yes, I am getting answers. Thiolate nucleophile should be formed. That will be formed. Thiolate nucleophile should be formed. But you know, then this becomes okay. This becomes okay. Anyways, last 1 minute. So I'll just end the meeting now. You please re-log in now. Okay. I just end now. And please, before we re-log in, you think about the answer.